They hurt you. They lied to you. They betrayed you when all you gave them was loyalty. And every part of you wanted to strike back, to make them feel even a fraction of the pain they caused you. That's the instinct. That's human. But what if I told you the smartest revenge isn't destroying them, it's refusing to even play their game? What if I told you that the most dangerous thing you can do is walk away completely, build a life they can't touch, and let their own choices eat them alive? This isn't weakness. This isn't letting them get away with it. This is the Stoic way of winning, not by fighting, but by making the fight irrelevant. Because the truth is, when you rise without retaliation, you don't just win, you take away the only power they had left. Today, I'm going to show you how to turn betrayal into unshakable strength, how to use emotional intelligence to outsmart anyone without lifting a finger, and why no revenge is often the ultimate revenge. Stay with me, because by the end, you'll see exactly why walking away may be the most powerful move you'll ever make. Revenge is one of the oldest instincts in human history. You hurt me. I hurt you back. It's simple. It's primal. It's built into our survival wiring. When someone wrongs us, our brain lights up in the same areas that activate physical pain. That's why betrayal, humiliation, or disrespect doesn't just hurt our feelings, it feels like we've been physically attacked. And what does the human brain want to do after an attack? Strike back, the illusion of justice through revenge. We tell ourselves revenge is about justice. We want to set things right. We convince ourselves that until they feel the pain we felt, the universe is somehow out of balance. It's why so many people think, if I can make them pay for what they did, I'll finally be at peace. But here's the trap. Revenge rarely delivers peace. More often, it chains you to the very person you want to escape, because every time you think about getting even, you're still centering your energy on them. You're still letting them occupy space in your mind, dictate your emotions, and influence your decisions. The ego's role. The craving for revenge is fueled by the ego. The ego can't stand the idea that someone got away with hurting us. It wants public validation. It wants witnesses to our retaliation, so everyone knows we didn't just take the blow. But here's what the ego doesn't understand. Your self-worth isn't restored by destroying someone else. It's restored by rebuilding yourself. And here's where emotional intelligence comes in. It's the ability to pause, see the bigger picture, and recognize that giving them your energy, even in revenge, is still giving them exactly what they wanted, your attention. Real-life snapshot. Imagine you had a colleague who undermined you in front of your boss to make themselves look better. You find out, you're furious. The immediate urge: expose them, humiliate them, send an email to the entire team outlining exactly what they did. For a moment, it might feel good. The adrenaline rush hits. People see your victory. But what then? You've just invested more time, more emotional energy, more of your peace into someone who's already proven they don't deserve it. Meanwhile, the truly powerful move would have been to refocus on your work, outperform them in ways they can't sabotage, and let their insecurity burn while your results speak for themselves. The biological hook revenge also has a biochemical element. Studies show that when we imagine or carry out revenge, The brain releases dopamine, the same feel-good chemical we get from winning a game or eating something we love. That's why revenge feels addictive. But like any cheap high, the crash comes quickly and the emptiness feels even deeper after the rush fades. You're left thinking, okay, now what? Why don't I feel better? That's when many people realize revenge didn't heal anything. It just prolonged the wound. The Stoic lens. The Stoics saw revenge as a form of self-poisoning. Epictetus taught that if someone injures you, and you respond with the same vice cruelty for cruelty, you've simply joined them in the gutter. Marcus Aurelius put it bluntly, the best revenge is not to be like your enemy. To a Stoic, true victory is maintaining your character when others abandon theirs. This is where psychological boundaries come in. You decide who gets access to your mind, your energy, and your attention, and those who betray you lose that access, not because you're afraid of them, but because they're no longer worth the investment. The emotional intelligence shift revenge is reactive. Restraint is strategic. When you operate with emotional intelligence, you start asking different questions. If I retaliate, am I actually fixing anything? Will this move me closer to peace or keep me chained to the past? Do I want to match their behavior or rise above it? When you start answering honestly, you'll see that revenge often keeps you stuck in the exact energy you're trying to escape, the karma you don't have to deliver. Here's the other truth. Life has a way of balancing the scales without you micromanaging it. People who harm others often repeat their patterns, and eventually, those patterns catch up to them. It might not happen when you want it to. It might not be in a way you can see. But people don't escape themselves. They carry their choices everywhere they go. And sooner or later, those choices come with a price tag. Your job isn't to make them pay it. Your job is to move on before you become collateral damage in their self-destruction. Your takeaway for this chapter. The urge for revenge is natural, but so is the urge to touch a flame. Wisdom is knowing the burn isn't worth it. The smartest revenge starts with this realization: you don't need them to suffer for you to heal. And sometimes, the ultimate power move is walking away so completely that they can't even reach you, not physically, not emotionally, not mentally, because when you no longer crave revenge, you're no longer tied to the person who hurt you. And that's the kind of freedom they can never take back. Revenge feels like winning until you realize what it actually cost you. In the moment, striking back can give you a rush of power, a sense of justice served. But look closer, and you'll see that in most cases, revenge quietly turns you into the very thing you swore you'd never become. The hidden price of revenge. Revenge is expensive. And I'm not talking about money. It costs you time, mental energy, and emotional clarity. Every minute you spend plotting how to hurt them is a minute you're not investing in your own growth. The more you focus on getting even, the more you build your life around their existence. Ironically, instead of freeing yourself from their influence, you end up making them the center of your decisions. When you become what you hate, one of the most dangerous parts of revenge is that it often mirrors the original offense. They lied to you, so you lie to them. They humiliated you, so you humiliate them. They tried to sabotage your progress, so you try to sabotage theirs. And in the process, you start eroding your own integrity. You may win the moment, but you lose the bigger battle, the one for your character, your dignity, and your self-respect. The Stoics warned about this constantly. If you answer vice with vice, you are no different than the person who harmed you. A real-life snapshot. Picture this. A friend betrays your trust, spreading a personal secret about you. Your initial reaction: spread one of theirs. Let the world know they're not as perfect as they pretend to be. You do it. People hear it. And maybe they suffer some embarrassment. But what's the long-term effect? You've now confirmed to yourself and to everyone watching that you are willing to cross the same line they did. Your image is now tied to retaliation, not resilience. They may lose a little reputation, but you've lost something harder to get back: your moral high ground. Revenge keeps the wound open. Think of an emotional wound like a cut on your skin. If you keep poking at it, reopening it, and pouring salt into it, it will never heal. Revenge does exactly that. Every time you engage in payback, you're revisiting the hurt. You're keeping it alive. It becomes the lens through which you see the world, and sooner or later, it starts defining your identity. Instead of being the person who rose above it, you risk becoming the person who's still obsessed with what happened. How revenge hijacks. Your future revenge is like an anchor disguised as a weapon. It feels powerful in your hands, but it's dragging you down while you're holding it. You can't fully step into your future if you're still anchored to the past. And when you build your decisions around making someone else lose, you stop focusing on how you can win. That's why Stoic thinkers treated revenge as a distraction, a trap that keeps you from living the life you were meant to build. The energy drain high-performance mindset, 101. You only have so much energy in a day. Where you direct it determines your growth, your progress, and your peace of mind. If you pour it into revenge, you're giving the best of yourself to the worst of them. Meanwhile, they've already moved on to their next move, and you're stuck replaying the same scene over and over. When you refuse to retaliate, you reclaim that energy and redirect it toward goals that actually matter, goals that serve your self-worth and your inner peace, not your ego. The Stoic reality check, Marcus Aurelius, once wrote, "The best way to avenge yourself is not to become like the wrongdoer." The meaning is clear. The only true win is to keep your own hands clean. Revenge may give you the last word, but restraint gives you the last laugh. Because while they're busy trying to guess when or how you'll hit back, you've already left the battlefield entirely. Your takeaway for this chapter: revenge tricks you into thinking you're in control, but in reality, it's controlling you. It makes you reactive instead of intentional, vengeful instead of visionary. When you let go of the need to get even, you start to build a life that's no longer defined by what they did to you. You stop playing their game. And in doing so, you win by default. In a world that worships loud victories, restraint can feel invisible, almost like you're doing nothing at all. But to a Stoic, restraint is not doing nothing. It's doing the hardest thing imaginable, choosing control when chaos tempts you to lose it. Restraint is a choice, not a weakness. Modern culture often paints self-control as weakness. If you don't clap back, you're soft. If you don't retaliate, you let them win. But that's not the Stoic perspective. Restraint is a conscious decision to act in alignment with your values, not your impulses. It's saying, I refuse to let your behavior dictate my behavior. When you choose restraint, you're proving that your emotions answer to you, not the other way around. And to someone who thrives on provoking you, that's more threatening than any direct attack. The psychological intimidation of restraint people expect a reaction. They count on it. In fact, manipulative or toxic individuals often design their offenses for the purpose of getting a rise out of you. When you don't give them that satisfaction, you rob them of their control. Think about it. They insult you. You stay calm. They try to bait you into a fight. You walk away. They spread lies. You don't even address them. To them, this isn't just confusing, it's infuriating. They realize they have no leverage over you. And that realization alone is a punishment they weren't prepared to face. Restraint is an inner power move. High-performance leaders and top athletes know this truth. The strongest move is often the one you don't make. You can't build empires, win championships, or master your craft if you're constantly distracted by petty battles. Restraint is a power move because it sends a silent message. I have better things to do than fight with you. And deep down, that's what unnerves your opponents. You're living a life that doesn't revolve around them. When silence speaks louder than words, Stoicism often uses silence as a weapon, not out of spite, but out of precision. Words can be twisted. Arguments can spiral. But silence forces them to sit with themselves. It removes the distraction of your response, leaving only their actions echoing in their own mind. And for someone who acted out of malice, guilt and shame grow louder in the quiet, a real-life parallel. Imagine a coworker spreads a false rumor about you to undermine your credibility. You could confront them in public, expose them, and risk turning the workplace into a battleground. Or you could simply keep working, keep producing results, and let your performance make their words irrelevant. Over time, people see the truth for themselves, and now your restraint hasn't just protected your peace, it's enhanced your reputation. Restraint protects your energy. Energy is a currency you can't get back once spent. Every emotional outburst, every hour plotting revenge, is a withdrawal from your own reserves. Restraint, on the other hand, is like investing in a long-term growth account. By not wasting energy on trivial conflicts, you preserve it for the battles that actually matter: your goals, your health, your relationships, your peace. The Stoic equation for restraint: Stoics measure the value of an action by one question: will this help me live better according to virtue? If the answer is no, it doesn't matter how tempting it feels in the moment they walk away, because in the end, no one looks back on their life wishing they'd spent more time in pointless fights. They look back wishing they'd invested more in becoming who they were capable of being. Your takeaway for this chapter: restraint is not passive. It is active self-mastery. It is the discipline to protect your inner peace, your self-worth, and your long-term vision. It's understanding that sometimes the most devastating move is the one where you do nothing, because nothing leaves them with everything: their guilt, their shame, and the memory of the moment they realized they couldn't touch you anymore. It sounds contradictory, no revenge as the ultimate revenge. But that's exactly the paradox. Stoicism understands better than most philosophies. The greatest punishment you can give someone who wronged you isn't in destroying them, it's in removing their power to affect you at all. Why doing nothing hurts more than retaliation? When you strike back, you're still engaged in the same game they started. You're showing them that their actions still have a grip on your mind. But when you don't react, when you continue living, growing, and thriving without acknowledging their existence, it sends a message they can't ignore. You no longer matter here. For toxic people, being irrelevant in your life is more unbearable than any direct attack. The silent collapse of their ego. People who harm others often feed on control. They want to see you upset. They want proof that they can pull your strings. When you refuse to respond, you break the supply chain to their ego. They expect drama. You give them peace. They expect a fight. You give them silence. They expect your life to stop. You keep building it higher. And that's when the shame creeps in, not because you punished them directly, but because your life has become living evidence that their attempt to hurt you failed. The psychological boomerang. Here's the thing about malicious actions. They often boomerang back to the person who threw them, not because of mystical karma alone, but because of human nature. When someone lies, manipulates, or betrays, they have to live with the constant awareness of what they did. They may bury it under excuses or denial, but your calm and continued success digs it back up every time they see or hear about you. In this way, you've turned their own mind into the punishment. Real-life example. Think of a relationship where one partner leaves in betrayal, expecting the other to fall apart. Instead, the betrayed person starts a new chapter, better health, stronger friendships, thriving career. Years later, the betrayer sees them again, expecting awkwardness or resentment, but instead, they're met with indifference. That moment hits harder than any argument or insult could, because it confirms the one thing they feared most. You didn't just survive without them, you thrived. The high-performance angle. From a high-performance mindset perspective, no revenge works because it keeps you future-focused. While they waste time replaying the past, you're moving forward, stacking wins, building momentum. It's like running a race where your opponent keeps looking back at you, trying to block your path, while you've already lapped them without even acknowledging the game. Why Stoics master this art? The Stoics knew that life isn't about winning every small battle, it's about winning the war for your own mind. By refusing to fight on someone else's terms, you maintain control over your time, your values, and your peace. Marcus Aurelius put it simply, the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. Your transformation, your refusal to become them, is the ultimate form of victory. Your takeaway for this chapter: no revenge works because it breaks the cycle. It forces them to sit alone with the reality of their actions, without giving them any fuel to justify or escalate it. And most importantly, it gives you your life back, a life not built around their offense, but around your own vision. Walking away isn't weakness. It's a level of emotional intelligence most people will never reach because it requires you to see beyond your ego, beyond the need to win in the moment, and into the bigger picture of your life. Why emotional intelligence changes the game. Emotional intelligence is the ability to recognize and manage your emotions while also understanding the emotions of others. In conflict, it's what allows you to say, "I see what you're trying to do, and I'm not playing." Without emotional intelligence, your reactions are controlled by triggers. With it, you control the triggers. And when you control the triggers, no one can drag you into a fight you didn't choose. The 3 EQ skills that make walking away powerful. 1. Self-awareness. You know your emotional patterns. You can feel the anger, the hurt, the betrayal, and still decide how you want to respond instead of letting those emotions decide for you. 2. Self-regulation. You can resist the urge to react impulsively. This is the difference between sending that angry text and deleting it because you know it won't serve you. 3. Empathy with boundaries. You may understand why they acted the way they did, maybe out of insecurity, fear, or jealousy, but you don't excuse the behavior, and you don't stick around to be hurt again. Why people struggle with this? Most people see walking away as letting the other person win. But here's the truth. The person who walks away is the only one who truly wins, because they're no longer trapped in the cycle. The emotionally intelligent person knows that not every battle is worth fighting, and that your peace is too valuable to be traded for a hollow victory. The Stoic perspective on EQ Stoicism teaches that external events don't control us, only our interpretations of them do. When you have high emotional intelligence, you've mastered the ability to filter events through reason instead of raw emotion. It's not about pretending you don't feel. It's about refusing to let those feelings turn you into someone you don't want to be. Walking away as a power statement. Imagine someone hurling insults at you, trying to provoke a reaction. The crowd expects you to lash out, but instead, you smile slightly, say nothing, and walk away. In that moment, you've done more damage than any comeback could, because you've shown them and everyone watching that they hold zero influence over you. The long-term impact walking away isn't just a momentary choice. It sets a precedent for how you handle future conflicts. You train yourself to value your peace over pettiness, your energy over ego, and with time, people learn they can't manipulate or bait you, because you won't give them the drama they're fishing for. Real-life scenario. Let's say a toxic ex tries to lure you into an argument months after the breakup. They send a text designed to provoke twisting old memories, playing the victim, hinting at new ways to hurt you. An impulsive response gives them exactly what they want, attention and proof that they still matter in your mind. An emotionally intelligent silence that starves them. It forces them to confront the truth. You've moved on. Your takeaway for this chapter. Walking away is a masterclass in emotional intelligence. It's the quiet declaration that your life, your peace, and your purpose are more important than proving a point to someone who's already lost the right to have access to you. Every toxic interaction follows a predictable pattern. They provoke, you react. They twist your reaction into proof that you are the problem, and the cycle feeds itself round after round, until you're exhausted, bitter, and drained. The only way to win: stop playing, Why the cycle exists. Toxic people thrive on conflict. For them, drama is oxygen, whether it's through manipulation, guilt trips, or outright hostility. The goal is the same: keep you emotionally invested in them. If you keep reacting, you keep feeding the fire. The Stoic approach: starving the fire. The Stoics understood that the fastest way to extinguish chaos is to deny it fuel. That means no arguments, no emotional explanations, no just one more conversation, hoping they'll finally understand. You break the cycle by making it one-sided. If they're throwing punches into the air and you're no longer in the ring, the fight collapses. The psychological shock of no response. When someone's used to controlling you with their words or actions, silence feels like a locked door. At first, they might pound harder, sending more messages, pushing more buttons, turning up the emotional volume. But when nothing works, when they see that the door won't open no matter how much noise they make, they're forced to face themselves. And that's when shame, regret, or frustration begins to take root, not because you punished them directly, but because you refuse to be part of the script anymore. The power of predictable boundaries. Breaking the cycle doesn't mean one dramatic moment of cutting someone off and disappearing. It means consistently enforcing boundaries every single time they try to pull you back in. They insult you. You don't respond. They bait you with false accusations. You don't explain. They send a fake apology to reopen the door you don't step through. Over time, this consistency teaches them that access to you is no longer a given. Real-life example. Think of it like an energy bill. Every interaction costs you something. If you keep paying, they'll keep sending charges. But the day you cancel the account, the day you walk away, the billing stops. That's what breaking the cycle feels like. You stop funding the chaos. Why this requires inner strength. It's not easy to break a toxic pattern, especially if you've been in it for years. Part of you will want to respond, to defend yourself, to have the last word. But every time you resist that urge, you're training yourself to prioritize your future over your feelings in the moment. That's emotional discipline, and it's rare. From chaos to clarity. Once you break the cycle, something amazing happens. The noise fades. You have more mental space. Your energy starts flowing into things that actually matter: your growth, your health, your purpose. And you start to see the toxic person for what they really were: a distraction, not a destiny. Your takeaway for this chapter: the cycle ends when you decide it ends. Not when they change, not when they apologize, but when you no longer participate. That's when you reclaim your time, your peace, and your life. When you finally walk away from the chaos, when you stop giving them the reaction they crave, something incredible happens. Your life becomes quiet. Not the kind of quiet that feels empty, the kind of quiet that feels full, full of clarity, full of self-respect, full of the power they never wanted you to discover. Why inner peace is intimidating to toxic people. Your peace is a threat. They feed off conflict. They survive on knowing they can get inside your head. But when you reach the point where their name doesn't trigger your pulse, where their presence feels irrelevant, they realize they've lost the one thing that gave them power: your attention. The silence they can't handle. Revenge can be noisy, It's fueled by proving a point. But peace is silent. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't need an audience. It simply exists, and in that existence, it speaks volumes to your enemies. That silence is deafening because it tells them, you no longer have a place in my world. How peace works as a power move 1. It removes their influence. When you no longer react, they can no longer shape your emotions. 2. It forces self-reflection, without you to blame or argue with. They're left alone with their own choices. 3. It redirects your energy. Instead of wasting it on revenge, you invest in building a life they can't touch. The Stoic mindset. The Stoics understood that true freedom comes from mastering your own mind. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Your enemies may still talk. They may still try to provoke you. But when your inner state is unshakable, their words land on stone, no penetration, nor damage. A real life shift. Picture this months after you've cut ties. You bump into them in public. They expect you to look bitter, to avoid eye contact, to carry the weight of the past. Instead, you smile, not for them, but because you're genuinely at peace. You greet them like you would a stranger, then continue on with your day. That moment isn't about showing off. It's about living proof that you've moved so far beyond them. They no longer even register as a chapter in your life. Why peace lasts longer than revenge. Revenge gives you a short-lived high peace, but it fades. But peace builds. Every day you protect it. It grows stronger until it becomes your natural state. And here's the irony: the more you protect your peace, the more it punishes those who tried to destroy it, because they're forced to watch you live well without them. Your takeaway for this chapter: inner peace isn't the absence of problems, it's the mastery of your response to them. When you own that, you don't just silence your enemies, you make them irrelevant. The beauty of choosing no revenge is that your victory doesn't end in the moment it echoes. It's not a firework that burns bright and then fades. It's a sunrise, slow, steady, and impossible to ignore. The short shelf life of revenge. Let's be honest. Revenge feels good in the heat of the moment. You imagine the satisfaction of seeing them hurt, like they hurt you. And yes, you might get that moment. But here's the truth: once it's over, you're still left with the same scars, the same energy drain, the same emptiness. The win doesn't last because it was built on their downfall, not your growth. The long game of no revenge. When you refuse to retaliate, you start playing a different game, one they can't win. You're no longer measuring your success by their failures. You're measuring it by your own evolution, the promotions you earn because you're focused, not distracted, the healthy relationships you build because you've cleared out toxicity, the self-worth you develop because you chose discipline over impulse. Every new achievement, every new smile, every new step forward is a reminder not just to them, but to yourself that you won without touching the battlefield. The psychological advantage. There's something deeply unsettling for an enemy when the person they tried to break ends up thriving. It's not just that you moved on, It's that you moved on so completely, they no longer have any power to define you. They can't tell the story anymore. They can't spin the narrative, because your life now tells a louder, truer story. I chose peace, and I won. Why this hits harder over time. At first, they might tell themselves you're just avoiding them, that you're bitter, that you're pretending to be happy. But time is the great truth teller. When months turn into years and you're still at peace, still building, still glowing, that's when the reality sets in. They didn't win. They lost the best thing they could have had access to you. Real-life proof. Think about people you once knew who disappeared from your life, not with drama, but with quiet strength. When you see them years later, thriving, it changes the way you remember the past. That's what you're creating now, your absence, paired with your success, rewrites the memory of every conflict they ever had with you. The Stoic legacy. In Stoic philosophy, legacy isn't about monuments or trophies. It's about the life you build quietly, the strength you embody daily, and the example you set without even trying. By choosing no revenge, you don't just walk away from the fight, you rise so far above it that history remembers you for your composure. Not your conflict. Your takeaway for this chapter: revenge might make a statement today, but peace and progress, they make a statement for the rest of your life. Pain changes people. For some, it turns into bitterness, mistrust, and walls so high no one can climb them. For others, the ones who refuse to be defined by what happened, pain becomes fuel. And this is where the Stoic philosophy shines. What happened to you isn't the end of your story. It's the foundation of your next chapter. The two roads after betrayal. When someone hurts you deeply, you stand at a crossroads. 1. Let it define you. Carry it like a wound you keep touching, keeping it raw. 2. Let it refine you. Turn it into wisdom, strength, and unshakable standards. The first road keeps you stuck in the past. The second road builds a future so strong that the past can't keep up, turning the wound into a weapon. Not a weapon against them, a weapon for you. Every lesson you learned in pain can become a tool, emotional intelligence, to spot manipulation before it traps you again. Psychological boundaries so solid that toxic people can't get through. Self-worth so high that disrespect becomes a deal-breaker. Not a debate. Pain sharpens you if you let it. The Stoic perspective on suffering. Epictetus taught that we can't control what happens to us, but we can control how we respond. The betrayal, not in your control. Their lies, not in your control. But your next move, entirely yours. When you choose to channel that energy into something meaningful, you rob them of their victory. From victim to victor. The moment you stop asking, "Why did this happen to me?" and start asking, "How can I use this?" you shift from victimhood to power. The relationship that broke you, use it to refine your standards. The betrayal at work, use it to sharpen your skills and rise higher than before. The friends who turned on you, use it to learn the value of loyalty and choose your circle wisely. A real-life example. Think about an athlete who suffers a career-ending injury. Some let it destroy them. Others turn it into a new chapter, becoming coaches, mentors, or advocates. The pain that could have been the end becomes the reason they leave a bigger mark than they ever could have as a player. Your betrayal can do the